it's only Saturday today, but I'm going to start off by talking about Sundays. Sundays when I was a kid. Now, you don't get this anymore, and perhaps it's a good thing, but I'm going to make a point about the Tory party in a moment, okay? But on Sundays, people would buy, when they could, the news of the world. Oh, we used to call it the news of the screws, yeah? Dear old News of the World was the one source for a certain amount of soft pornography, nudge nudge, wink wink, and anybody who grew up in my generation will have had, fortunately or unfortunately, some knowledge of a parent somewhere or the other or wherever buying the news of the screws. Fleet Street, gutter journalism at its absolute best. Better than the Sun. If you want a few Sunday tits and bums and titillation and who's into screwing who and who's having affairs with who, and you want lots of royalty as well, the news of the screws, where you get lots of royalty, I'm sure, in the Sun as well. Now, let me just go a little bit further than talking about what Sunday was like when I was a kid. They even closed pubs on Sundays so people go to church. But let's not be distracted by that, yeah? The theme I've introduced here is this whole idea of sexual perversion and debauchery. I've done that on purpose because it's an ideal introduction to what the Tory party are all about. They're all about sleaze. They're all about distraction. And above all, they're all about brutality. Now, what kind of brutality? Well, let's go back a bit in history, shall we? Brutality in a kind of madness, yeah? Let's go back a bit in history to the end of the Roman Empire. Remember? Nero fiddling while Rome was burning. Well, the Tories are always fiddling. The problem is a lot of them are fiddling with kids. The problem is, as you can probably already read in today's papers, that Edward Heath, ho, 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 Edward Heath, I'm on the good ship Edward Heath, Morning Cloud, my yacht. Oh, jolly good, boys and girls, do you want to come onto Morning Cloud, my yacht? Oh, I'm the Prime Minister, Edward Heath, come on my yacht, boys and girls. Enough allegations, enough evidence to say that dear old Ted Heath was a little bit of a kiddie fiddler. Tories are about that. But they're also about absolute power. And this links brilliantly with this idea of sexual sleaze. Because to a Tory, power is sexual. It absolutely is. I could imagine the little hoity-toities there, the Jacob Rees-Moggs and all of that lot going, oh, Nanny, watch that poor person starving. Oh, isn't it exciting, Nanny? Nanny, something's happening down there. A poor person is starving. Oh, Nanny, should that be doing that? Oh, Jacob, I'm afraid I don't know, darling, but a poor person is starving. And Jacob would be like, I've surged too early. Yeah. Ultimate power for them is the ultimate sexual thrill. It goes beyond money. It goes beyond political power. It goes beyond wealth. It goes beyond influence. When these people know they can directly control if the likes of myself and others out there live or die, when they know they can do that. To them, that must be the ultimate sexual thrill. I think it's the ultimate sexual thrill. Ultimate power over others. Romans showed it. Nazis showed it. Most fascists show it. A fascination with the kinky, the sexually perverse, the sexually harmful, a desire to not love, but a desire to harm. And in that harm is taking absolute control of another human being or a group of human beings. The same mentality must have motivated the slave trade and all those bastards that did stuff like that on which much of our great wealth is built, yeah? The same sexual brutality, kinkiness and whatever must have motivated them too, and I'm sure that with their other halves they had jolly fine sex lives, jolly fine, just like I imagine goes on with most Tories, because they're perverted little bastards, many of them, and we hear more and more about their pervertedness, and nothing is ever done. Files are lost, and they remain lost. No one ever takes action against them. I think the other thing I would also say, that something that just so reminds me of the fall of the Roman Empire, yeah, and there's something I heard in the media, but I just want to share it with you because I think it's so true. Look at the end of Roman civilization, or at least the fall of the Roman Empire. Okay, what's Rome ever done for us? Bought peace. No, let's just forget the life of Brian for a moment, okay? At the end of the Roman Empire, sexual debauchery, I'm not being all moralistic here, it was rampant. Greed was rampant. The Romans would binge on food until they stick their finger down their throat and vomit into a vomitorium while people were starving. The Romans would do that. Chefs. Don't you just love chefs? Don't you just love all those programs, all those celebrity chefs and all those wonderful celebrity programs on celebrity chefs producing celebrity food and serving it on silver service in the top restaurants to the best people? Yeah? Doesn't that kind of remind you of the decline of the Roman Empire through greed and gorging and the power all in the hands of an elite little few, an elite little group of senators? Just a thought, but I believe that there's an awful lot of sex and sexual gratification and sexual imagery behind the vicious brutality that exists within the Tory party. Now, of course, everyone's going to go away and say, well, Tom Watson was right, anti-Semitism, Jeremy Corbyn, racism, get Jeremy Corbyn out, he's an anti-Semite, so forget this guy. Let's say that Labour anti-Semitism can't vote for them. But think about the perversion and the desire for power of the little people that are ruling us at the moment.